What are you doing though? I left my baby to you. It was a cold, snowy day. I was shopping with my daughter at the station, and suddenly my sister-in-law yelled at me. What? I don't know. I left it on the front porch of your house. Even if I was told that, I was confused because I didn't remember it at all. But if my sister-in-law's story is true, the baby is in danger. My sister-in-law and I rushed home. After that, I got caught up in something unbelievable. My name is Willow Froud, and I'm 30 years old. I work from home as a freelancer. I live with my husband, Roger, who is 5 years older than me, and my 4-year-old daughter, Zoe. My daughter is an obedient and good girl, and my husband goes straight home after work and takes good care of Zoe. My parents-in-law live far away, so I rarely see them, but we have a good relationship. They often send gifts to Zoe, and my daughter loves her grandparents. I could tell that both my father-in-law and mother-in-law kept a reasonable distance from my family and were careful not to interfere too much. I was grateful for such a blessed environment as I spent my days. However, after a certain time, such a calm daily life began to fade. Roger has an older sister, Luna, who is 3 years older, and her husband, Daniel, has been assigned to work alone. Since then, Luna has been visiting us frequently. At first, I didn't feel anything in particular about my sister-in-law coming to visit, but it went from once a week to 2 times a week, then 3 times, and finally almost every day. Willow, I'm here today, too. Luna, welcome. When Luna came to play, I couldn't help but smile wryly. Her daughter, Emma, is only about 6 months old. My sister-in-law brings such a baby almost every day and relaxes as if it were her own home. However, the day was different. Oh, I'm sorry, Willow. I have to go to the dentist today. It's already time. Can you have a look at Emma in the meantime? Oh, yes, I know. If you have a baby, it can be difficult to go to the dentist with the baby. As a mother, I fully understood her feelings, so I decided to take care of Emma temporarily. And I saw off Luna as she went out. About 2 hours later, she returned. Thank you, Willow, it helped me. I was a little worried about my sister-in-law's light words of gratitude, but I forced myself to convince that we can help each other. However, my sister-in-law's behavior gradually escalated. One day, Luna came to our house as usual, but as soon as she came, she tried to go somewhere alone. Luna, where are you going? Yes, hey, thank you for taking care of Emma. After saying that, my sister-in-law went out without telling me where she was going. Eventually, she started leaving her child at my home almost every day, going out and finally not coming back until the date changed. This is too bad, as expected. I gradually became distrustful of my sister-in-law's behavior, which was so free-spirited. Thank you, Willow. My sister-in-law, who finally comes back after feeding her daughter dinner and putting them to bed, always seems to be in a good mood, probably because of the alcohol. Luna, I think you shouldn't leave Emma behind and go out until midnight every day. I thought that such a person was my husband's sister, so I tried to be as modest as possible. However, Luna lifted her eyes and shouted, "What's that?" Do you say that a mother must not take a rest at all? I couldn't help but flinch at her loud voice. I'm not blaming Luna, I just felt sorry for Emma. My husband isn't on assignment alone, and I'm raising a child alone. I'm doing my best under a lot of stress. I know that. What do you say to Willow, who has a husband who is supportive of childcare? When I was told that, I had no words to reply. Seeing me in silence, my sister-in-law nodded in satisfaction. Don't worry, we're both mothers, aren't we? Now I'll take care of Zoe, and Willow should take a break. Yes, she said, but this promise was never fulfilled in the future. And that wasn't the only problem. On the day my sister-in-law entered the house, my personal belongings were gone. No matter how much I search, I can't find the bag I bought as a reward for myself and the accessories I got from my husband on my anniversary. However, one day, I saw Luna holding the bag I was looking for, and the culprit was identified. Luna, isn't that my bag? What? This is what I bought. Luna blurted it out like that, but I knew right away that she was lying. But it's a limited edition, and it's not sold anywhere right now. I bought it secondhand at a thrift store. Do you suspect me without evidence? Even if I question my sister-in-law, she claims she doesn't know it, and gets angry at me. But as my sister-in-law said, there is no evidence that she stole it. I had no choice but to put my precious things away in a locked place. One day, when I was caring for Emma, who my sister-in-law left with me as usual, my daughter, Zoe, came up to me and suddenly I started crying. When I hurriedly asked her why, she mumbled to herself, "You know, I'm sad I can't play with my mommy." She was lonely because I was always caring for my sister-in-law's daughter. It's true that I've been nervous about taking care of my baby lately and I've been neglecting Zoe. I realized that just because my daughter was a good listener, I was spoiled. I couldn't help but hug Zoe as I watched her cry with her little lips trembling and sadness overflowing from her whole body. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Later, when my daughter tried to cry and fell asleep, my husband came home. I explained the situation to him and decided to stop taking care of Emma for a while. The next day, my sister-in-law came to our house with the child as a matter of course, but I firmly refused over the intercom. I can't take care of Emma because I have a lot of work to do. What's that? I've got plans here. I don't want you to say that. It's the same for me, because I can't do it today anyway. Ignoring Luna yelling something over the intercom, I went back to my room. 5 minutes later, I secretly looked outside, but my sister-in-law had given up and disappeared. All right, Zoe, let's go out with Mom now. Really? I had a work meeting outside that day, so I decided to go with my daughter. We always use a coffee shop with a kid space, so Zoe can play there and wait. After work, I went straight to the shopping mall with my daughter, and for the first time in a long time, I was able to spend time alone with my daughter. Then, around 5 p.m., I stopped at the supermarket in front of the station and was shopping for dinner when suddenly someone grabbed me by the shoulder. When I hurriedly turned around, I saw my sister-in-law standing there, out of breath. What are you doing though? I left my baby to you. What? What are you talking about? I don't know. I left my child on the porch of your house. What? Didn't you give up? According to my sister-in-law, after I refused to take care of Emma, she withdrew once, but came back 30 minutes later and left Emma, a beautiful girl, in front of the door. At that time, I had already gone out with my daughter, so I had no way of knowing. Unfortunately, it was cold in the morning and it was snowing all day. It's not the time to argue here. We rushed to our house. However, there was no Emma at the door. My sister-in-law is panicking because her daughter is gone. My husband is coming home tomorrow. Good. It's your fault, so you have to do something about it by tomorrow. What? I'll be in trouble if you tell me that. I have an errand, so you're responsible for looking for my baby, and if something happens, it's your fault, right? When she ran one-sidedly, my sister-in-law walked away from the place. I searched hard when I was left behind, but I couldn't find Emma. I went to a nearby police box, but I was told that there was no report that I had found a baby. When I returned home at a loss, I noticed that there was a letter in the mailbox. It was from a neighbor, and it was said that she was taking care of my sister-in-law's daughter. I immediately went to check on Emma, and I breathed a sigh of relief. But I don't know what would have happened if the neighbor hadn't been there. At the same time as I was relieved, anger at my sister-in-law welled up. It's impossible to prioritize yourself when your child is missing. As a mother as Luna, I could not forgive her for putting her own daughter in danger. I asked my neighbor to take care of the baby and Zoe, and I decided to follow my sister-in-law. It occurred to me that maybe she was in a place where I had seen her once before. And my hunch turned out to be right. The next morning, my sister-in-law called me to ask what had happened to her daughter, and I gave my best performance with my voice trembling. I don't know yet. Haven't you heard anything? What? I managed to find Emma before my husband came home. My sister-in-law is making noise in a hysterical voice, even though she is on the phone. Calm down, I'm heading there now. She didn't seem to hear me, but when I hung up the phone, I went to my sister-in-law's house. Half an hour later, when I arrived at the house, my sister-in-law scolded me as soon as I opened the front door. What the hell are you going to do if you can't find her? If you look at the hinges from the start, it was your fault, Luna. What are you talking about? It's your fault that this happened. I realized that it was useless to say anything more, so I asked a certain person who was waiting behind me to come out. What? You're supposed to be back at night. It was Luna's husband who appeared there. Willow contacted me, I changed my plans and came back early. Oh, yes, you're tired, aren't you? Look. Hurry up and get home. The sister-in-law was upset and tried to invite her husband into the house, but her eyes widened when she saw Emma in his arms. Why, Emma? Willow's neighbor took care of her. Seeing that the sister-in-law was about to say something while twitching her face, her husband spat out in a cold voice. I've heard it all, you're the worst mother. I couldn't help it, it was my first time raising a child, I was alone, and I was worried. That's why I was just getting help from Willow. Right? She looked at me with a clinging look, but of course I didn't have the slightest intention of playing along with the conversation. No, you weren't just prioritizing meeting the young man you were crazy about rather than taking care of your daughter. At my words, my sister-in-law's face turned pale. I once happened to see Luna coming out of a nightclub. That's... Why would you lie like that? While saying that, my sister-in-law covers her face with her hands and collapses. However, there were no tears in Luna's eyes that I could see through the gap. I turned to my sister-in-law and showed her one photo. There was a perfect picture of Luna intertwining her arms with a young man outside the club. What's more, she has a limited edition bag that seems to be mine. I'm sure that she took out my brand name items from my house because wanted to show off when she visited the club. My sister-in-law screamed a little when she saw the photo. The day Emma was gone, you went somewhere to run an errand, and I thought you were at this club, and sure enough, there you were. Of course, the photo at that time was also taken with a smartphone, so there is no way to deceive it. I never thought you were forcing Willow to take care of my daughter and playing around, and I can't leave Emma to someone like you. I'm getting a divorce. I'm sorry. I don't do it anymore. Please. Please. I just gave in to temptation. The sister-in-law begged for forgiveness, but her husband's determination was not softened. Is it okay to make Emma a motherless child? Don't kid yourself. A person who puts her child at risk for her own needs doesn't deserve to call herself a mother. Hearing my words, my sister-in-law sat down on the spot. Leaving my stunned sister-in-law behind, we left. After that, my sister-in-law and her husband decided to divorce. The husband demanded $2 million alimony from Luna and also took custody. In addition, it seems that he has filed a claim with the police for leaving the child alone for a long time. My sister-in-law was in debt to pay alimony and couldn't go to the nightclub. As soon as the young man found out that Emma didn't have any money, he immediately abandoned her, and now she lives in a shabby apartment and works part-time day and night. On the other hand, I still have a relationship with Emma's ex-husband, and he sometimes comes to our house and enjoys barbecues. I would like to continue to watch over my daughter's growth in the